I think one of the biggest things that can hold human beings back is the thought and the weight of our past mistakes. We just keep replaying them in our minds, and we act as if watching this game film over and over again is going to change something. And it's super important if we ever want to grow, if we ever want to get what we're meant for, if we ever want to become whatever we're meant for, we have to learn to let go of the past. But it's not that simple. You can't just say, hey, I let go of it, and it keeps popping up in your mind. I think you have to gain a certain perspective. I think you have to gain a certain amount of understanding of how things work, and how things will pan out in the future. Not you knowing the future, but you knowing that like things work out. Like there's certain perspectives you have to understand that allows you to have the ability to let go of your past mistakes. And if you don't have this perspective that I'm about to explain to you, then it's going to be really hard to let go of past mistakes. It's going to be really hard to grow and to be able to accept the new beginnings and allow the past to be the past and allow the future to become. And so it's super important we go through certain mindsets, certain perspectives that allow you to do that. I'm somebody that still holds on to my mistakes. I'm somebody right now, all the videos I make are from current problems I'm having that I actually know the answer to. I'm just like allowing myself to be my own therapist through this video to also help y'all. But like we deal with these past mistakes. We'll deal with them over and over again. We'll play them. And there's certain things we have to remember if we ever want to be able to move on. And one of the things I've realized when it comes to this is that we have to kind of be able to humble ourselves of the understanding of the unknown and of the future and of why things are happening. What we have to understand as human beings is that we can't understand what's going on. We don't understand the full purpose of things. Things are beyond our understanding. So to be able to let go of the past, you have to have peace of understanding that you won't know the reason yet. You may never know the reason. Humble yourself to understand. It's beyond your comprehension. I know this sounds like nothing. I'm saying nothing. To understand, it's beyond your comprehension. Trying to understand why things are happening and trying to understand why did I get these cards I was dealt? Why did this release that? Now, is there a reason? Yes. But trying to depict and understand like why is this happening, or trying to equate the result of an action is impossible. Okay, so if we do this, we see the immediate result of it, but we don't see the full picture, right? We think we know what happened, right? We think we made a mistake, and this mistake called the consequence is this is the result. But that's never the full equation. But when we only look at it from that part, from mistake we made, then negative outcome. And it's obviously a negative outcome because we wouldn't have viewed it as a mistake, right? Let me erase this so I can explain this more. But when we make a mistake, we see the negative outcome. So we didn't go for it, or we tried something and they rejected us, or whatever it may be. We see the negative outcome, but we don't see where the negative outcome then transcribes to be. So then do we learn from it? We feel it. If we didn't feel the negative outcome, if we didn't feel like, oh, we messed up, we wouldn't know to learn. We wouldn't know it was wrong. No, it's wrong. So without this negative outcome or negative feeling, we wouldn't then be able to know it's something to learn from. It's something that is wrong. It's something we have to do differently. We wouldn't be able to then, from knowing this, do it right in the future. I know I'm just explaining like learning a lesson. Do it right in the future. But I want to explain something because this is a lot deeper than what I just illustrated right here. I want to illustrate it with something that I get from every time I watch a time travel movie, okay? I don't know about y'all, but I love time travel movies. The first time I watched Back to the Future, if you haven't watched Back to the Future, you should watch Back in the Future and all the movies from Back to the Future. But any time travel movie has this thing called, I'm going to try my best. Dang, I'm really about to mess this up. I was trying to draw a butterfly, and it looks like I'm just drawing a big old butt. But all right, I'm going to just write the butterfly effect. If anybody doesn't know what the butterfly effect is, essentially, it's when one little thing happens that changes a whole course of events. So if you've ever watched a butterfly effect movie, a time travel movie, what usually happens in the movie is whatever happens, the main character usually goes back into the past. It's funny, we talk about time travel movies and we talk about Back to the Future, but they usually go to the past. But whatever. Well, sometimes they go to the future. But whenever they go to the past, right? They go to the past, right? Let's say you go to the past to fix something that you did wrong, your mistake, right? Usually what happens is when you go and try to fix that one thing, there's all these other domino effects. Domino effects. And there's things, and usually in these movies, there's things you didn't think about that were connected, right? And so you just go back to save somebody from a fight, but then they become a weak individual for the rest of their life and never do another action that was super important, okay? And I have something open. I have like low-key OCD, and I had to close that. But there's these domino effects that happen, right? And then it affects things you didn't even know were possible. So what you have to understand is it's in your little mistakes, they're having effects that may be positive outcomes in the future, things you needed. And without this one little domino, like the domino effect happens, you know, if you've ever seen somebody have all these dominoes and it, you know what I'm saying, and then they flip one and then all of them fly. There's all these domino effects that are happening from your little mistake. Now, is it your responsibility to see the full domino effect? No. Your responsibility is just trust, okay, even though this happened, this was negative, quote unquote, it wasn't what I wanted to do. It's all happening for a reason. You have to trust the unknown. That's the key. That's the first key in being able to understand the reason why you need to let go of your past, because it's not for you to understand, it's beyond your understanding. There's domino effects, there's butterfly effects beyond your understanding. Like watch any time travel movie, you'll see how things are so much more connected than we think, but it's obviously so much connected that it's not our responsibility to understand. So your responsibility, just take care of what you can control, learn from it, and watch it pay off. It always pays off. Like I'm telling you. An example I like to always use is, let's say you're at the mall, right? Boy or girl, whatever. You're at the mall and you see somebody cute. Classic situation. You see somebody cute. Your intuition may tell you want to go up to them. Let's do it. This is you. I'm a guy, so I'm going to use me as a guy. And I like women. So let's say there's a girl out here. She got this hair. Right? She looks good. Right? I like girls with curly hair, so let's do that. And I see her, right? And I'm thinking, man, she kind of smiled at me. I think she's cute. You know what? I have this intuition in my heart. This is the girl that's meant for me, right? I have this intuition. But I have a little bit of fear of failure. But you know what? I'm going to go up there, and I go up to her, but I'm a little nervous. So Jamar nervous when he goes up to her. So he acting kind of small. So I have this weird face on me, and I'm stumbling on words, and then she's like, "You're a weird," you know what I'm saying? It doesn't work out, this interaction, okay? And in my head, I'm like, this is a big mistake. Why does this happen? I felt this intuition. Why didn't it work out? You think this is the negative outcome? This is the worst thing that could have happened. But what if this interaction wasn't just about you facing rejection? It wasn't just about you having this failure of a moment. What if 2 weeks later, you walking down the street, I'm walking down the street, and I see another pretty girl. She got curly hair too, just my type. This time I understand a little bit. Hey man, go up to there with confidence. What's the worst that could happen? You go up to her, and now I have the confidence, and now I get her. Now this girl got a big old ring on her finger, and this girl became my wife. Why? Because I had a negative outcome that had domino effects to something that was actually meant for. Whatever happens in your life isn't the end-all, be-all in that moment. You have a whole life to live. There's a mistake that's creating a parallel universe. That's probably not the right word, but it's creating a future if you decide to learn from the actions. But if you spend your time just saying, why has this happened to me? Oh my goodness, my mistakes, and never get over it and attack the next opportunity and not using what you learned, you'll miss out on why it even happened in the first place. So you need to understand everything that's happening is for a reason. Now, will it always be 2 weeks later you see another pretty girl? No. Sometimes it may take, a long time till you actually learn from the lesson and progress. But every single mistake, everything that happened is happening for a reason. And so when you understand that, when you start living more life, you'll start to see, man, like it's really nothing to trip about. You'll start realizing that you've made it through 100% of all the other things you stressed about in your life. If you're watching this video right now, that means you're alive. That means you're breathing. Everything you went through in your prior time in life, you've gotten through. And then we get into things and we act as if we don't get through things. We've gone through everything. You're shooting 100% from the field right now. You've gone through everything. Now, are you perfect and you don't make mistakes again? No, but have you gotten through them? You know what I'm saying? Everything in life eventually passes. The good passes. The bad passes. Nothing is forever. It kind of sucks, but it's kind of what makes life cool. Nothing's forever. The good times, not forever. The bad times, not forever. Your mistakes, not forever, unless you decide to make them forever. One of the things I like to say that is really funny is I'll have friends and I'll talk to friends about stuff that I deal with. Like, for example, I was like, to give an example, like I've had prior things that I've made mistakes on, and I'll be stressing out about. I'll be calling my friends. I'm like, yo, I messed up this one girl I was talking to. I did this, da da da, and I'm about to lose her. I'm like, Jamar, chill out. It's all gonna work out, da da da. And 3 weeks later, we'll be laughing because I'm like, yo, I don't even like that girl like this. A new girl I got. Like, there's all these things in life. If we just focus too much on the present moment, we get caught up because our current situation isn't our lifetime. Our current situation. Well, I feel like I'm gonna have an epiphany once I write down our current situation. Ooh, I got it. Wait for it. Drum roll, please. Our current situation isn't, ooh, this is good, our lifetime sentence. Was that the lifetime? Yeah, lifetime sentence. Like, you're not going to jail forever just because you feel like you're in jail right now. Just because you made a mistake, just because things feel like a failure now, doesn't mean this is how your life is going to be for the rest of your life. So you go up to a girl, you go up to somebody, whatever it may be, you go after opportunity. Just because it didn't work out, just because you made a mistake, doesn't mean you're a mistake for the rest of your life. And once you start understanding that, once you live more life, you'll start to look back at all the things you used to be all worked up about, all the mistakes that you laugh about now. It's kind of what makes life fun and kind of what makes the latter feel better. So the mistakes allow you to understand and appreciate when you don't make the mistakes. So if we were always perfect, we would never be able to really feel how dope it is that we're doing. It's within our mistakes. It's within us as human beings not being perfect. It's within us making mistakes that allows us to feel accomplished. If you always made every single shot, if you always were perfect, it wouldn't feel good. Perfect would just feel like okay. It's within the negative, it's within the mistakes that allow us to appreciate the positives and the achievements. So I need you to understand, you're going to laugh about whatever you're dealing with right now. So if you're watching this video, you probably have mistakes that you're dealing with. But I need you to know you're going to laugh about it, bro. And I need you to know you've gone through 100% of the things that you have gone through in the past and you're here right now. So there's really nothing to worry about. I like to say, if you're worrying about things that you can't control, just wait for the thing to actually happen, then worry about it. But you worrying about things that you can't control is only making the situation worse. When you can be using this time to do the things you love to do, to focus on the things you can't control, that actually makes the future better. Here's a quote I actually wrote in my book that's coming out in a couple months that really helps me whenever I'm dealing with my problems, my mistakes, or whatever, or things not going my way. I always tell myself this: what if things are weirdly working in my favor? I just ask myself this simple question: what if things are weirdly opening up in my favor? What if things are weirdly working in my favor? Because it reminds me in this question, yo, how many things have I said, man, I'm glad that happened. Even though in the moment when this happened, I was like, dang, why does this happen to me? And now I'm glad, like, yo, I'm glad she cheating on me. Yo, I'm glad that that job didn't accept me. Yo, I'm glad. Because things are weirdly working in our favor so often, but we have to remember, again, what we talk about in the beginning. We'll never understand the full scope of things. Humble yourself and understand you don't understand the full ramifications of something. So instead of trying to figure out why things are happening, trying to stress out about a mistake, just ask yourself this question: what if things are weirdly working in my favor? You don't need to know if that's a yes or no, even though it is. You just got to ask yourself this, and it gives you peace because you're like, yo, it's going to be okay because I've gone through everything, and I wouldn't be surprised if, even though this sucks, it's also preparing me for something. Remember, I talked about when you go up to the girl in the mall and you get the rejection because you were nervous and you made a mistake, and how it prepared you for what you were actually meant for. Don't get too caught up on what you want and just allow life to give you what you're meant for. Ooh, that's good. That's good. We got to write that down, gentlemen and ladies. I forgot what I said. Oh, no, I remember. Don't get too caught up on what you want. I think I forgot what I said. What you want. And trust, I don't know. I forgot. And trust who you're becoming. Maybe that's what I said. But y'all get the point, bruh. Don't get so caught up in your wants because you're not an all-knowing being. You don't know what's going on. Trust whatever's coming for you. So if you don't get what you want, obviously what you wanted isn't what you were meant for. What you wanted was just about you having that intuition in your heart to put you on a path to grow for what you're really meant for. So what I always like to say is my goals, my dreams, my wants, they're not destiny. They're just my North Stars. They're what life is putting me on a path to go in direction for. But sometimes the path isn't about the destination. It's about who I'm becoming in the process. And then it's going to put me on a totally different path to get me to where I'm meant to go. Sometimes what we want isn't what we're meant for. It's just creating the path to become what we're actually meant for. That's what I was trying to say. I don't know if this means anything, if this makes sense. I actually think it does. But I got one last point I'm going to give to y'all till we get out of here today. Because it's what helps me a lot of times, because we deal with mistakes and we think we're in loss, like we think we're missing out on something, think there's some experience we're not going to get, some person we're not going to get, some goal we're no longer going to get. But sometimes losing opens up space for the better. I'm going to write that in red. For the better. It's within somebody leaving. It's within somebody rejecting. It's within things that you thought you needed or wanted not becoming or coming into your space that allows you to have space for things that you didn't even know were there coming to your life. So what you have to understand is, say you want something really bad, but what if you're meant for something even better? You're so caught up on wanting this thing because you don't know about this great thing yet that when you don't get the thing that you want, you're missing out on getting something even better. So I need you to know losing or not getting opens up space for the better. You can't have everything, bro or sis. You just can't. But losing sometimes is opening up space for whatever you're meant for in the future. So I need you to trust whatever's happening. I need you to trust all your mistakes is weirdly working in your favor. I'm somebody that right now is dealing with, dang, like, bro, why did I do that? Like, that's really my thought, and that's why I'm making this video. But what I have to remember is, you know how many times I've had this feeling, and then once things progress and work themselves out, I'm like, oh, that's why that was happening. I need you to know there's a reason, and sometimes you're not always going to get the reason. But if you can learn to trust it, you're opening up whatever you're meant for. A lot of people miss out on what they're meant for in life, getting caught up by things they're not even meant for. Because guess what? If it was meant for you, it would have happened. Okay? You don't got to worry about it. It's not your responsibility. Understanding the butterfly effect, the domino effect, the reason, that's not your responsibility. You know how I know it'd be our responsibility? Because somebody would be able to understand it. Nobody in this world has figured out life yet. We're all doing this thing for the first time and trying our best, and nobody's cracked the code. That's why you're watching this video. I really don't know what's going on. I just got a little bit of knowledge. So don't think you need to know what's going on. Just try your best. Trust the unknown. And watch things weirdly work out for yourself. If you want more motivation to learn more about yourself, to become the best version of yourself, to find your passion, to find success within it, I got more videos on those topics. Like, comment, subscribe. See y'all on the next video.